Larissa, there is the new government has introduced a new piece of legislation which is a bit of a surprise to all of us, and I know it's made you very angry. Why?
Yes, I am angry, Andrew. It's a horrible bill with a not very engaging title, the Retained EU Law 2002 bill. But essentially, under that inauspicious title, it threatens to remove most of the environmental protections that have been put in place over the last 50 years, which amounts to about 500 pieces of legislation, I believe, which could equate to a situation where you can pretty much put whatever you want in the air, water, soil, and have very few planning sort of restrictions and be able to build on whatever land you please if you sort of took it to the extreme. And this seems to be being rushed through with very little public knowledge, engagement, and there's simply no mandate for it. People want a clean and healthy environment, so it seems completely undemocratic and unfair to be putting through a bill which is counter to public opinion. There is no mandate for it.
And it's, as I looked at the Conservative Party manifesto from the 2019 election, as you do, when you kind of raised the alarm about this last week. And what's interesting is that there's a very clear commitment to environmental regulation in the Conservative Party manifesto. So obviously last year they did the Environment Bill, which is actually a very good piece of legislation. But they say very clearly that they remain committed to and strengthening in the post-Brexit era, strengthening environmental regulation. So this is a shock, and it's a major departure from the mandate that they had from the election.
Yeah, it seems really sneaky, and I just don't think people in the party understand that. I don't think those many in professionals don't understand this is happening or what this bill stands for, let alone the public and the people who put this government there, if anyone did. We need to let people know about it so that they can sort of raise concerns and let elected officials know that they do want a clean and healthy environment and that this bill puts all that at risk.
And how do you go about doing that? Because I know that, the important thing to say is that actually the sector, if you want to call it that, the group of organisations that work and campaign on the environment are up and running pretty quick on this, aren't they? And they've got quite a lot that's going on already. So what do I do about it? Before we go on to talk, because I think this is part of a wider trend that we need to look at, but before we talk about that, what do we do?
Well, that is the one sort of redeeming feature of this. It's been very unifying to come together as a movement and to see the large charities sort of mobilise so quickly. So I think RSPB and Wildlife Trusts and National Trust have launched a campaign so that people can very easily write to their MP about it, to write to local councillors about it. But it is just really talking to each other, and especially targeting Tory MPs who are going to be asked to vote through the bill. So just to say that we do not want this bill to go through as it is, and we do want our environment to be protected, as well as a whole bunch of other laws as well, which is wrapped up in there, which you'll know more about than me.
But as you say, aside from promising almost the exact opposite at the last election, as you say, protecting the environment is a popular thing. People want to see the environment protected. We only need to see what's been happening with rivers over the summer period and with the pollution of rivers from the sewers, which is really shocking. And to see that we need more, not less, environmental protection. Clean air is an aspiration of the government's, but the targets are not tight enough, let alone there not being any. So getting up and running on that is really important, and we'll share on the Global Action Plan website, I've no doubt, the opportunities to take part in some of those actions that some of the organisations that we align with have got up and running and are publishing in light of this. I think more than 2,400 bits of regulation and legislation in total, so quite a lot on the environment, around 500, as you say, but then also social legislation, protection for people at work, health and safety, all on the chopping block.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really quite astonishing.
Yeah, which presumably threatens to further undermine the economy, given the environment isn't a nice to have, it's what our whole economy is predicated on. You need natural resources.
And I think there's, I mean, I've been following a lot of the economist commentary around the mini budget and the emerging policy of a government that's really only a couple of weeks old. And the suggestion is that the direction in which they're moving is actually against where a lot of the evidence is. Because if you want your economy to prosper, actually, and firms to come and invest, what you need is a high-skilled, high-regulation, progressive, future-facing economy, not a kind of, well, before I think we joined the European Union many years ago and started taking on board their legislation, we were known as the dirty man, dirty person of Europe, and that's where we're heading again, isn't it? Yes.